Hey, welcome back guys, and in this video, I'll be going over an updated guide on the raid Anomaly. Over the past years, although there has been many changes that have occurred in this raid since the rekindled update, I've made an updated guide for newer players and returning players to give potentially new information that you probably don't already know. But before anything, let's quickly review the rooms. In this raid, you have 6 rooms. 2 more than my previous guide on the War-Torn Palace, but don't worry, it is less complicated and more straightforward. The Nameless Anomaly is a level 103 raid, which you can enter with 1 total rune after completing the quest A Journey Further. And now, without a further ado, let's dive into Abyss as it gazes back on us. In the first room of the Nameless Anomaly raid, you'll need to grab a Berserker Berry, which spawns right in front of you to kill the Void Holes. It is the only way to kill the Void Holes as they have a lot of HP, and only when the player consumes the berry, then they can damage the holes. Once you consume the Berserker Berry, you'll need to hit each Void Hole 3 times to kill it, or 3 times to kill all 6 of them if you're on a Shaman class, as their melee attack can go through walls and hit all 6 Void Holes from the Berserker Berry spawning platform. Simple, right? The only downside is that the player who has the berry cannot defend themselves as they are not allowed to cast spells and are blind. Players who don't have the berry must guide the Berserker Berry holder or use a loot run layout, which I'll leave a link to the description below, and kill the mobs as the mobs will slowly spawn from the Void Holes as the timer goes down. Kill the mobs, guide the berry holder, and destroy the Void Holes to move on into the next room. If you happen to get the platform version for your first room, this room is similar to the other variation but easier as you're not on a timer and no one is blind. With this room, one player, preferably someone who's a tank or a healer, should stand on the platform. Standing on the platform starts a 60-second timer spawning Void Holes every 10 or so seconds and must be destroyed. The platform holder must avoid lightning strikes from the ceiling, which can do quite a bit of damage, but could also alternatively be avoided if you stand on the corners of the platform. 3 other players must actively be aware when the Void Holes spawn, as not killing them within 10 seconds of spawning will spawn a powerful mini-boss called the Heart of Darkness. The mini-boss will spawn with 1.2 million HP depending on your level and is quite tough. So if it ever happens, make sure everyone is on it, as you'll not be able to continue the countdown timer as it will aggro the player on the platform until the mini-boss is killed. Now just wait out the timer, destroy the holes when they appear, and the path to the second challenge will open. Moving on to the second room of the raid, the Tree Room. I know that this room can be very intimidating for newer players as this is a maze, but I'll show you 2 main routes that you can follow that I mainly use, as it is fast, reliable, and doesn't have weird paths for you to take. But first things first, each player at the start of the room spawns with 1 soul to donate to the altar, which opens the door to the tree for a short duration. Ideally, a person with walk speed who's going in the tree should donate their soul first. Take turns to donate your soul to the altar before killing the shrubs, which are located in 4 parts of the map instead of originally 2 a few years back. Once you enter the tree, find the interdimensional isotope located in the tree with the help of the chat message. It will tell you in which room it spawns in. The route I take usually starts with the gray room, all the way to the blue. But on occasions, if it spawns in the blue grotto, I'll take the path to the right, as it is faster to go through 1 door than 5 doors, even with being on weathered and having high walk speed. Now just kill the mini boss twice, deliver the heart to the altar, and you'll be able to move on to the next room. The light room, and I hope you guys like cuddling, as if you get too far away from the light, the darkness will eat you away. Going through the entrance and entering the cave, you'll need to find 3 shadowlings, which are spawned throughout the room at random locations. Kill them to awake the crowd terror, or if you're lucky, the lost eye. The crowd terror tends to be more difficult to kill, as they have 2 million more HP than the lost eye, and have abilities to launch players away from a light holder, fuck up their health or mana, and potentially kill you in a few chomps. Defeat the mini-boss while staying close to the light wielder in order to move on. Great job for making it this far, as you are not far off from facing the boss of Nameless Anomaly. Although you're close, you still have a few more things to do in this room, as now you need to gather 4 tokens from 4 parts of the map you're in. Each area has a challenge, whether it is to kill a mini-boss or do parkour. Before we start, make sure at least one person is defending the center void hole, because if it takes 10 hits, you will fail the run. But don't worry, I have a few tricks up my sleeve to make the run faster before that happens. For the first challenge, starting from the left to the right of where you spawn, it is a void pedestal parkour, where you need to activate 2 pedestals in order to open the void hole right under you to obtain the first token. This token, along with 3 other challenges combined, once donated in the center void hole, will summon 3 waves of enemies later, and on the 3rd wave, will summon a mini-boss for you to kill and obtain the final token to exit the room. With this parkour, if you know how to time it right, can be done in one run by activating the void pedestals like this. I won't be covering the first area mini-boss or the second parkour, because all you need to do is kill the mini-boss, and for the parkour, it is more straightforward than the void pedestal one. As for the second mini-boss that is located on the very right of the room, there are 2 identical ones that spawn, but the one that spawns on the right, near the wall, is the correct one you need to kill for the void token. The other one is just a dummy, and there's no need to kill it. After you gather all 4 tokens, gather up back in the center where you first spawned, and begin finding the 3 void holes for 3 waves. Kill the mini-boss, then face your final foe. On the off chance that you get the bulb room for your 3rd room, get ready to gather 3 bulbs from the bulb keepers to reactivate the void hole so you can leave, as this is probably the most boring room out there. Being the least interactive room, which on the bright side is less complicated than the jungle. All you gotta do is defend the center blue bulb from the bulb catchers, as having too many of them get to your bulb or carried it away too far from the center will cause the blue bulb to vanish and fail the run. The bulb keepers spawn on random locations farther out from the center, which you'll hear a horn blow noise like this, along with a chat message telling you that it has spawned. Kill it and take the bulb. Then run to the center blue bulb to energize it. Picking up the bulb will prevent you from using any spells, so if you happen to die, the bulb won't drop, so be careful. Repeat the process 2 more times until the blue bulb is given 3 red bulbs and energized. Now, with that being said, it looks like you finally made it to the end. But we're kinda getting some. This boss compared to Anathema or Orpheon has fewer moves in only one phase, as we're not gonna count Watch happening twice as a phase. The boss's mechanics are still deadly, so reading the boss's moves will be important. Starting with the more basic mechanic, a Nameless Anomaly. Or I'll just call him Greg just to keep his name short. Has a melee attack which is a frontal sweep attack and can be seen when his right hand moves when a player gets within range of his attack. This move can happen frequently if you're too close to the boss. Greg also has a jump attack, and this is a single move that they can spam, launching himself in the air before crashing right back down, dealing a huge amount of AoE damage to whoever's under it. This move also summons 4 void bombs that are flung in the direction within proximity of where other players are standing. Getting hit by those will also deal a decent amount of damage. Greg doesn't only have one of these attacks, as he also has a second variation, where he picks a direction and leaps across the arena, summoning void holes behind the path he took, along with a line of explosions. If you happen to be the one caught in the way of his leap, you'll die to the explosion trail. This attack can be heard with the dragon roar going off right before he leaps. Another move is when Greg summons a void hole above one player, which after a few seconds will drop and damage whoever's under it, including teammates, dealing a chunk of damage if you're not careful enough. The simple way to avoid it is to keep moving around and not stay where other players are. A blue spitting attack can also happen with an indicator of when the boss is on the ground and leaning in one direction. This is a rare move and only targets one player. Greg at any point of the battle can summon skulls, 4 for each player, with each one homing for 3 charges. Getting hit will reduce healing efficiency by 50% and deal a little bit of damage. This move can be heard with an initial wither sound effect right before it is summoned and homes towards the player. Another enemy Greg can summon are the armless, which spawn in groups of 3. They can roam around the arena, targeting players at random. Getting hit will deal a decent amount of damage, so kill it before you get touched. I mean, you literally can't tell me because they look like hands. Last but not least, the sigils. The sigils will be summoned at any time, but are usually only summoned under Greg. Watch out for the path where Greg is going and don't walk into them as they kinda hurt. Anyways, those are pretty much the core mechanics of the boss out of the way. The boss's signature move, Watch, can happen at 66% and 33% of the boss's HP. During the time, the boss cannot be damaged and will summon an eye right above his head. This will target all players in the arena, shooting 3 beams, with 2 not dealing anything, and the third one dealing 50% of the player's max HP as true damage within an 8 block radius. This will also summon a void hole with a creature that spews out void chunks within a 6 block radius, dealing 30% true damage to whoever is affected in the area. This attack will happen 6 times, so staying on the edge and circling around rather than running around in the middle of the arena is potentially a better idea if you're smart. Some minor things you should watch out for is for any void hole on the ground, as landing into it or walking into it will either launch you up in the air or teleport you into the void hole right above spawn. Use your movement ability spell when that happens or die falling. Walking into a void hole will also give Greg a chance to summon a little one, which when killed will summon a greater one. Not killing it after a few seconds of summoning the greater one will allow it to cast a black beam dealing multiple ticks of damage. Pairing that with 4 people accidentally doing that, well, it will be a disaster. Last but not least, the barrier. Walking into the barrier now flings you across the arena in the opposite direction of where you were going. Although it's not that dangerous, doing it too much will deal damage to you. Now that I've taught you everything that I know from this raid after 1,000 runs, I hope now you can fight Greg with confidence and defeat him. Wow, that was one heck of a boss fight, and I'm glad you made it to the very end. This video, along with my other guide video, took me a while to make, so I'd appreciate it a lot if you could like and subscribe. Our journey is still not over yet though, as there are still bosses to encounter, so I hope you'll be prepared. Until then, thanks for watching this guide, and I'll see you again.